Bear with me a moment. Come on. Okay, we're good. We are live. I am Savage Squishy86, and we are finally here. We are at one of my favorite OG versions of the original Resident Evil games of the early 2000s or late 90s, depending on your position. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the OG version, PlayStation 1 version, released many, many years ago, still holds a special place in my heart as being one of the most exciting and enthusiastic Resident Evil titles of its time, as it introduced to me the world one of the most elusively dangerous enemies of our generation, the Nemesis. In so many words, it is probably my favorite boss in all of the Resident Evil franchise. And because of that, it is one of my most favorite to fight. I love fighting the Nemesis. Most people would be not really so forth ready to really take on this enemy, but this is essentially just the epitome of everything we've ever led up to this point. Now, as you can see, Resident Evil 3 was pretty much in its infancy, coming off of the trails of Resident Evil 2's success. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis filled in the blanks, essentially, I guess you could say, for the entirety of the events leading up to the events of Raccoon City's imminent downfall. As we have seen through Leon and Claire's story, we saw the events of basically what led into that whole fiasco, and essentially what that pretty much meant for everyone else involved collectively as a whole. That is pretty much evident from our time, but more importantly, it is evident to the fact of the events that led to that. But we only know the story through the glass prism view of Leon and Claire. So what exactly led to that? Well, as we recall in the timeline, September 28th, essentially, was when Leon and Claire somehow or another arrived in the police station. Or perhaps September 9th, 29th. I could be wrong about my dates. Feel free to correct me if I am. But we only know about that from that one particular night they survived in the city and at the same time managed to escape. Jill Valentine of the STARS unit associated with the RPD, Jill Valentine, the very female character lead that we saw in the Resident Evil 1 games, essentially is the only remaining officer alongside her fellow officer Brad Vickers of the STARS Alpha team that is left in the city. If you've read the books, essentially Jill effectively survived in the city for an effective total of 3 to 4 days, maybe even longer than that, right up to the very end, which was October 1st, the day of this nuclear strike that essentially destroyed Raccoon City. During that time, she survived her means of surviving in the city, while at the same time evading not only the Nemesis, but essentially looking for a means of getting out of the city just by the skin of her teeth. We've obviously known the story elements from the Raccoon City story lore. More importantly, we also know the story elements from the Resident Evil 3 remake, but the original version has a multitude of different facets, story elements, and content that we had not encountered in the remake. Now, in my opinion, and I've said this before, to me, Resident Evil 3 Remake was a very exciting game, and it was a very fun game. But, unfortunately, it is one of those games that essentially, it was a good game. I will not take that away from it. Resident Evil 3 Remake is a very good game, and I did enjoy it, and I still play it to this day. But, in my opinion, I prefer the OG version, and for a number of reasons. I think the most important one is the absolutes of game elements that we will, of course, encounter in the game. The decision-making system. is one particular facet, and basically the decision-making system essentially is a crisis management decision system where basically you will have moments in the game where you will essentially have to make a quick reactive decision that will basically change the course of the game. As we play through, I will go through the details of explaining what elements will be changed and what elements will be impacted. Further elements of that will basically prove and have a series of effects, I guess you could say, to the story itself. Encounters with the Nemesis will be changed. Story elements and choices you make will put you in different places, and in turn change the story elements outcome in certain situational periods. From boss battles to essentially help you can or probably will not receive, potentially. It also adds to the fact of elements that incorporate a number of like detours and deviations you will need to make. But all that you said, excuse me, it will be a pretty evident factor in that capacity, so that will be a big thing. Another feature of the Resident Evil 3 OG version that we did not encounter in them is the Mercenaries mode. Now, we will not get into the Mercenaries mode, but we will basically have that available to us in the credits of that. I may decide to do one run of it, but I might not. I haven't really decided really as of yet. It is pretty much like one of those kinds of things that is kind of up in the air, but then again, who knows? Maybe I will, and I'll get my feels for that at my own leisure of time, provided the circumstances will be in my favor for that. But essentially, that is pretty much what we can look forward to. Now, other elements that you will see will basically be bosses we did not encounter in the remake, certain versions of enemies we did not encounter in the remake either. But we will essentially have all of that pretty much explained as we play through. This is going to be a straight shot playthrough. This is going to be a full playthrough. There is no scenario situations in this game like we had with the Resident Evil 2 OG version with Leon A, Leon B, Claire B. This is a straight shot and a single playthrough, and we will basically get through it and see how far we get with that. So, but enough of my rambling. We're going to get right into it. I will explain the mechanics and details of functions of that as we go along, as well as my own personal preference of tactics and strategies, as well as others that I have learned about that others would recommend. Oh, excuse me. I apologize. It's 8 a.m. I'm still waking up, but I was really excited to get to this. I've been putting this off for a while, but I'm kind of glad to get to it now. So let's get into it. So right away, obviously I went to the key configuration essentially, and I wanted auto because essentially we're going to have the measures. Now, one noticeable detail I'll draw your attention to will be the aim all and the aim enemy. Now, this is an important detail because essentially you will have explosive elements you can use to your advantage, similar to how we encountered them in Resident Evil 3 Remake, except in Resident Evil 3 Remake we could free aim. This will not be the case as we do not have the over shoulder. This is essentially a fixed camera system. So aim all will essentially put you on the point with the closest available target. Essentially, this will be explosive barrels, bombs that have been planted, to name a few. So pretty much that is what that will basically. I just want to explain that before we get further in, because you will want to memorize that to your ability. Now, two key components here. In a new game, we will have hard mode and easy mode. Now, easy mode is essentially for people who are not really accustomed to this. This is essentially going to give you an assault rifle. You'll have an abundance of ammo and supplies orderly ready for you in your stash. You will also take less damage. Enemies will take more damage, and essentially getting resources, all ammo resources you get from gunpowders, and essentially will be doubled. So instead of traditional 15 bullets, you'll get 30. In other cases, you'll get a huge amounts more of ammo, specifically in grenade rounds, magnum, whatever. However, you will in easy mode, every time you defeat the Nemesis, he will not drop anything. In hard mode, Nemesis will drop an abundance of resources for you, much like how we saw in the remake. However, in the OG version, he will drop you weapon parts. He will drop you first aid boxes, which carry up to 3 first aids at a time. So in that order, you will get the Eagle Parts A and Eagle Parts B to get access to the special handgun of the Eagle 6.0. This is a very high performance rapid fire pistol that will do critical hit damage and easily dispatches zombies with a 6% chance of a critical headshot. This will essentially blow their head off. Those 2 parts will account for the first 2 engagements with the Nemesis and defeating of him. And I plan to fight Nemesis on all facets of hard mode. That's what we're going to play. The 3rd drop he will drop will be a first aid box. Then he will drop the lever action shotgun parts A and B for a rapid fire spring-loaded shotgun, similar to what we will probably encounter in future games of Resident Evil, as we recall. The 5th drop, no, the 6th drop, I correct myself. Sorry about that. The 6th drop will be another first aid box. And then the 7th drop will be a special, I believe, an assault rifle. And then the 8th drop will be 1 box of infinite ammo, which you can apply to any weapon in the game. So if you drop Nemesis all 8 times per his encounters, you will essentially get the benefits of those encounters much to your benefit in the long term. And that is essentially what we're going to do. He is a very dangerous enemy, as we encountered him in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Resident Evil 3, the OG version, this is another criticism I have of the remake, is that a lot of his encounters in the remake are fixed encounters. They are not incidental, and they are not influenced by the game's mechanics. In Resident Evil 3 OG version, his encounters are consistent, and at times, based on your decisions, will be random. They are slightly fixed, but ultimately you will have more encounters with the Nemesis in the OG version than you will in the remake. And I think that's the reason why I like the OG version more, because I love fighting the Nemesis. He is a tough customer. He does all the same facets like you would normally think. He uses a rocket launcher. He has an incredible persistence of pursuing you and hunting you down. So he will follow you essentially from area to area in certain locations, and essentially you can lose him by traversing multiple areas. But more importantly, we're not going to do that. I really want to fight him because we're going to get all those bonus weapon items, essentially, in that regard. But there are decisions you can make that will essentially disable him and slow him down, much to the benefits of what we will be exploring in the future. So, like I said, easy mode is for if you're new to this game. Hard mode is if you really want the meat and potatoes of the game. So we're going to get right into the hard mode. Get started right now.
Resident Evil.
And here we go.
It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella. No one dared to oppose them, and that lack of strength would ultimately lead to their destruction. I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions, but there would be no forgiveness. If only they had had the courage to fight. It's true that once the wheels of justice begin to turn, nothing can stop them. Nothing. It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape.
It's also important, not really important, but that was the name of the book by S.D. Perry, was Resident Evil 3 The Last Escape, not Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
What are they? Let's do it. Go, 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 go!
So you can pretty much see that shit went down really fast as they tried to get everything under wraps, but it didn't work out. The police were essentially destroyed. The UBCS were essentially overwhelmed. Everybody pretty much got dead very, very easily. So here we are. And this is essentially where Jill's apartment essentially is pretty much located. So, oh, I didn't want to do that. Essentially, that's another thing too. The dodge mechanics are the same from Resident Evil 3 remake. Essentially, aiming a weapon just before the enemy grabs you, you will immediately either push them or dodge away from them. It's kind of up for debate in terms of how successful it is with your playability. But essentially, basically, we'll just go ahead and look at the files here. If you open up your inventory, pressing the circle button, you'll find that you have the Samurai Edge, which is essentially the M92F in Jill's inventory. You also have a reload bullet making tool, essentially for making ammo from gunpowder. That has returned in the Resident Evil game. And then here we have the game instructions. So once you go ahead and read them, you will get the details of how that functionally works. So shooting objects, essentially, R2 button is basically shooting explosive objects. That is pretty much straightforward. The quick turn essentially is down and the run button, or down, depending on what your mechanic layup is, down and square, down and circle. Emergency escape, this is where it gets a little bit kind of crazy because it's kind of a bit confusing what they basically ascribe to this. So essentially directional buttons in the, I guess that's essentially geared for like which direction you're going to push them. But you want to press the R1 button, the R2 button, the run button, which is either square or circle depending on your opinion. The cancel button, which is either square or circle depending on that. And the L1 button. So you want to basically like press all of these buttons at one time to basically do that. Me, I don't really have much success with that. I'm kind of trash with that. So I just aim the weapon and hope to God that I can push them down enough to where I can knock them out of my way. But you can also just aim the weapon essentially just before they do that. So emergency dodging, just before an enemy attacks, you can perform a dodge move and evade it. Press R1 and R2 buttons, or press the action button while aiming. So essentially that is basically what you can do. I do it right before I just hold the aim button and it does it right away. Getting on and off objects, blah blah blah, the map, live selection. Alright, so this is the decision system that I was talking about. There's a live selection. At certain points in the game, the screen fades into a black and white image. At these points, you will be prompted to choose between two different options. Essentially, that will make the decision. It is possible to skip certain scenes. Press the select button to skip certain scenes. Basically in that fashion. If you do not choose a decision will be made for you, and it may not be the decision you want. So just bear that in mind, which I will explain the outcomes of each decision when we get to that point. Ammunition creating system, this is essentially the reloading tool, basically telling you the formulas of making different gunpowder. So gunpowder A alone will give you handgun bullets. Gunpowder B will get you shotgun shells. Gunpowder C, which is basically making A and B combinations, so combining A and B gunpowders to make C. C will give you grenade rounds. Now, if you have C gunpowder and you combine it with A, you will get flame rounds. If you do it with B, you'll get acid rounds. If you do it with another C, you'll get freeze rounds. And if you decide that you want to make something else entirely, magnum bullets, hint hint, you're going to need to make CCC and combine them all together. And then combine this with the reloading tool. Essentially, this is basically what you can get. Now, the other thing they won't tell you, and this is an important detail, is you can actually mix in gunpowder with grenade rounds. If you combine certain types of gunpowder with grenade rounds, the special types of grenade will be recreated. So essentially what it says is if you have grenade rounds, and you combine A with the grenade rounds, you'll get a couple of flame rounds. Same goes with B, making acid rounds, and C, making freeze rounds. Freeze rounds essentially will slow down enemies. Acid rounds will, of course, burn and melt them. Flame will set them on fire, and then obviously so on. So we didn't really get we didn't really get freeze rounds in the OG version, the remake. And I don't think we got a mag. Oh no, I think we did get a magnum, didn't we? I can't remember. It's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. What's important is that basically is you learn these things by heart, because these essentially will be important to making the munitions you require to take on enemies such as the Nemesis and others. So, mixing level improvement. If you repeatedly create the same kind of ammunition, your skill will be improved and you will be able to create more powerful ammunition. Now, this is something I do always in the OG version. If you continuously make handgun bullets and shotgun shells, you will get enhanced handgun ammo and enhanced shotgun shells. These are very powerful forms of ammunition for your most basic weapons. Essentially, I like to do this for the Nemesis alone. That being said, it is not the only way you can fight him. If you so desire, you can make freeze rounds. It's good because it hurts him really bad, like a traditional grenade round, but it also slows him down. It's not what I would consider my best option, and for good reason, because he can dodge grenades, much like how we saw him do in the remake. So essentially, it's kind of a high risk, high reward thing. There's a chance you will succeed. There's a chance you won't succeed. I'd rather put stock in the enhanced handgun and shotgun ammo because they have such incredible stopping power for fucking him up too. So, but that being said, we got the files down. Let's go ahead and get moving. Alright, so obviously we didn't do the dodge right there. We're just gonna get him out of our way. Sometimes you get lucky and you do a dodge. Sometimes you get lucky and do a push, but the pushes are only effective if they go down. If they don't go down, there's not really much you can gain from that, so.
September 28th, daylight. The monsters have overtaken the city. Somehow, I'm still alive. Okay, we've got to get out of here.
What? What do you think you're talking about? I just lost my daughter out there! How dare you tell me to go back outside?
I'm sorry about your daughter, but there isn't gonna be any rescue. We have to get out of here.
No! I'm not going anywhere. I'd rather starve to death in here than be eaten by one of those undead monsters! Now leave me alone! I told you! I'm not leaving! Never! Just get away from me.
Fucker's unhinged. So if you haven't really connected the dots yet, that is Dario Rosso. Now, essentially, we encountered him in Resident Evil 3 Remake, briefly. This is essentially the warehouse section which we were navigating through in our escape away from the Nemesis in Remake as well, which we did not have the opportunity to really fully explore, as the remake pretty much really kind of carved out a very linear path, one we could not revisit, much to my dismay. But over here, you'll find some handgun ammo as well as a first aid spray over there on top of the boxes, and that will basically be everything you're going to find in this room at the present time. Now, we will revisit this location much later in the game, but we will not really have much to do as it stands right now. We're just going to head upstairs to the upper office, another particular area which we could not access in the remake. And I hate to throw jabs like that, but I'm just pointing out a lot of the elements that essentially were very absentee in the remake. And I'm going to do that a lot. So if you're a remake fan, I'm sorry. But yeah. Over here on the shelf, you'll grab these 2 gunpowders, grab the key, warehouse key from the wall, and also the ink ribbons from the typewriter. So right here, we're going to use the reloading tool to essentially make the handgun ammo. Now, I'm doing these individually. You get a little bit more if you do them in bulk, but if you do them individually, your improvements of the handgun enhancement ammo will go up. So you get more availability if you do them pretty much early on, right from the jump in that fashion. So we're going to go ahead and put away the reloading tool, and we're also going to put away the first aid spray, and then we're going to save our game. Not like we really need to, because we have the benefits of this rewind system to avoid that. Now, as you can see, I pretty much have already played a little bit ahead of this, but we're going to just go ahead and overwrite it. I basically did a little bit of a test run to sort of get myself acclimated with the controls and sort of, get my muscle memory back with getting a routine, particularly to that function. So, but we're going to once we do that, we're going to head out of the warehouse office, and head to the back door. I praise the audio cues because essentially you could hear how incredibly haunting and eerie the sounds of the outside world are. I mean, you're inside, but you can hear them outside. Zombies moaning. The wind carrying the sound of their moans and groans, as well as the crow caw in the air. Once you use the key, discard it and head outside. We'll see if I can get through a whole playthrough. I doubt it. I'm not sure, but I'm going to definitely try. But we're going to immediately head over here. Quick turn and then beeline it back down this path. And there's a reason why I'm doing this, because essentially I want to set them up in such a way that I can actually get the most out of using the explosive element. So go back out. There's actually a drum on the street we're going to use to kill a lot of the zombies if we can get them properly positioned. Obviously, we get more if we do this way. So the zombies in this game essentially are a bit more of a rush type of zombie, so we essentially are going to actually have to deal with that. Ah, you fucker. Oh, come on. Okay, obviously that didn't work out like I wanted to, but gonna have to deal right now. So we're gonna avoid these zombies. The door obviously will be moving. That's essentially part of the thing that we wanted to have happen, because we will have a few threats in this area. We're gonna make a visit back here later on, but for right now, we're basically gonna continue into this hallway. Now, pulling up the map, see if I can remember where the map is. Okay, controls are there. All right, the map will be the L2 button. So essentially we are in this alleyway sort of path. This is essentially the warehouse, and this is essentially the path that led us away from the apartment, Jill's place right there, and then basically made our way down here. So, well, we're going to head up here. And we're going to try to open this door, and this essentially is going to lead us to our next major encounter with the zombies coming out, rushing us. If you do get bitten, don't worry about it. Fucker. Oh my god. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky with the freaking reload. I'm trying to do the freaking dodge and I'm not having much luck with it because this is fucking just broken as shit. I've never liked the dodge mechanic. I've always felt it was I kind of like the quick time event stuff. I like the quick time event stuff more because I never was good with the dodging. So too many buttons to do the dodge, I think, in my opinion. Less is more, guys. Less is more. But the good thing is, if you use the knife right, you can actually essentially get more out of your enthusiasm. Occasionally, you'll hit the wall, and that will create that animation where you literally just fuck up your posture. I find it's easier to do knife attacks on the stairs. So, and this is basically going to be that. So, the person that was in here essentially looked familiar, but we'll go ahead and find him later on. He's important to the story. So, in here at the bottom of the stairs, you'll find an oil lighter fuel for the oil for the lighter oil, and then you'll also find a shotgun. Grab them both and make your way out. And then he obviously went that way, so we're going to follow after him. So grab the 2 green herbs here, though, before we do that. Go ahead and mix them, because we need some inventory space. And then make your way out into the boutique district. And then upon entering here, you will have a few zombies. Now, we're going to avoid a majority of them. We're not going to really engage them because we want to save our ammo. Over here, you'll see Jay's Bar Jacks. So essentially, this was another key location on the remake and the Outbreak versions of the game. If you have never played... Oh, you fucking dick. Oh, come on, man. Alright, there we go. Fucking hell. Upon getting down here, you'll hear a civilian die, and he's being eaten right now. Grab the Uptown map, and this will basically give you the complete layout of the entire map in that capacity. As soon as we can figure out how to unzoom it. Okay, bear with me a moment here. I should have fucking did more practicing. Alright, there we go. X is basically... Now, this is an important thing here. If you notice that these locations with the purple, this is essentially entailing that there will be a cutscene event essentially happening in these 2 areas. Essentially, the sales office will be one, and the bar will be another. This is in the entirety of the Uptown area, which essentially will be marginally accessible in the remake, I might add. Not so much the case in the OG version, as you can revisit these locations many times, and we will. We're going to go ahead and grab these other green herbs in here in the fire escape, mix them to get a full 3 green herb set, and then head down the fire escape again. Oh, come on. Alright, fucking dick. I'm not wasting any shots on this asshole, so we're going to just drop down and make our way down the street and avoid these zombies and get into the back alley area leading to the back of Jay's bar. Have your handgun ready, because we'll actually have a few zombies in our way. Down below us will be some gunfire. You essentially want to avoid them and just keep moving. And then head in after the guy. And we will find it is actually STARS Officer Brad Vickers.
Get away!
Now, you can choose to use your gun to help him, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to use the knife. And he will drop the zombie. And then we'll have a cutscene.
Brad, hang in there. Why isn't someone doing something about this?
I didn't know you were still alive, Jill. The police aren't trained for this kind of situation. What could they do? Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
What are you saying?
You'll see. He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
Now, in case you haven't picked up on that, he's referring to the Nemesis. Essentially, the Nemesis has seen him, and he has seen the Nemesis. Once the Nemesis has pretty much... It's a very bizarre concept of how it works. There's no real distinction of explaining how it's basically... There's no real full explanation as to how the Nemesis is finding them, but essentially it has good tracking abilities. But once it locks sight of its target, it just keeps going after them relentlessly. So it's pretty much prime target right now is Brad Vickers. On the bar counter, you'll find a clock tower postcard, a postcard of the clock tower, another staple location that was more or less removed from the remake, much to my chagrin. The following explanation is printed on the backside. A landmark spot, St. Michael's Clock Tower. Now, we did get to the clock tower in the remake. To a point. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep throwing shade at that game because I think it's a terrible, terrible design to just not put that in the game. I mean, it's like so insulting. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep saying it. In any case, we're going to head back out the way we came and proceed up and through the next area. Ignore the zombies here if you can. And we're going to head through this door and unlock it from the other side. This is essentially going to bring us back out to the street where we initially came out of the warehouse. And with a relative point. So head on. You hear a woman scream for help, follow after them, and basically get the zombies' attention. And then follow after her. And you will hear her scream, head inside, and you will essentially find that she has been killed. You know, it's kind of sad, but you know what? I think this is Dario's daughter. And I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I'm not sure, but I mean, I know it is definitely someone, but I shudder to think that was Dario's daughter because he thought she was killed. But apparently in the book, Dario ran away while he saw his wife and daughter being consumed. And he did nothing to stop it. Which is kind of sad, but a very, humbling story arc, if you can think of it. Now, we're basically taking our way through here because that door, if you recall earlier, actually shifted on the cop car. That's an important reason we need to go back and trigger them. There's actually a zombie inside it we need to get to come out. So we're going to do that. So drop the zombie and then take advantage of the opportunity to get some easy knife kills. And that will basically be that. We're going to do the same thing with this other zombie. Zombies take a little less damage to kill in this game, but I think that's like a monumental thing that I think was very enthusiastic for the story's elements in that fashion. Oh, I did not want to do that. We're going to just back up and run away to it. Yeah, there we go. That's better. And once we drop that zombie, head over here and grab the gunpowder bee that's inside this cop car. And then we're going to head over here and then take our detour through this alleyway again. Now that we have a working lighter, which is an important piece of a tool we'll need, we'll have a zombie here. Let's immediately run past him and just keep moving. Now, entering this alleyway here, this will basically entail to a barricade, which is essentially being held, keeping zombies inside. But once you approach the door, it will essentially, by all intents and purposes, will collapse. Now, several zombies will breach, and it's okay because we're going to use this barrel to essentially destroy a majority of them if we can get them close enough there. So once they get close, shoot it, and you'll kill a huge itinerary of them. Right out flat. Now this next zombie we're gonna wait to approach because we're gonna actually kill her, hopefully without using a shot. Obviously she's gonna start running. But we're gonna get up here on this box and basically use the higher elevation to basically. This is actually a pretty handy spot too, for when you encounter the Nemesis. If you really looking to take him down. Okay, obviously that didn't work. Oh, come on, lady. Just die, will you? Dodge, please, something. Ah! Go down, lady. See, and that's essentially what you want to do. You can back up, and then basically just do another push. Back up. If she doesn't go down, that's essentially what you want to do. So I think I got the right routine now where I can actually do that. Obviously, over there, we got some red herbs, but unfortunately, we can't pick them up yet. But what we can do is open up this gate. We have it bound tight with a rope. It's soaked in oil. So let's go ahead and burn it. And then heading inside, we will be in another area. A huge fire will block us from accessing the path leading to the sales office for right now. We'll have to come back and put this fire out, hence why we'll be returning to the uptown area. Have your handgun ready, because as soon as you go beyond this point, the dog will jump through the fire. You fucking dog. So once we deal with the dogs, head inside this save room, storage save room over here on the side, and then basically we'll be able to drop off a few things. Most poignant thing we're going to drop off is going to be the lighter as well as the green herb and then we're going to take out the reloading tool. Head over here, grab the gunpowder A and the gunpowder B from the shelves, respectively. We're going to make some shotgun shells with the B. Again, individual shotgun shell, gunpowders, and handgun ammo will essentially get you that much closer to getting the enhanced ammo. So don't be worried about using them individually. You will lose out on a little bit of the ammos essentially needed for them, but that's okay because that's a relevant sacrifice for greater gains later down the line. Believe me when I tell you, it's a big deal. So you really want to get in the habit of using that. But it's entirely your preference. If you want to make the grenades, if you want to make grenade ammo, if you want to make an excess of shotgun ammo, be my guest. We're going to head back, though. Go grab those red herbs. Oh, I'm tired than usual. Grab the red herbs here. Go ahead and mix one of them. Also, on one of the bodies, there will be a photo A file. The policemen are pressing forward. It's dated for September 27th, so the day before the police had mobilized essentially to quell the zombie horde, but we're fucking not exactly ready for that kind of action. So, once we have that pretty much acquired, we're going to head back into here and we're going to prepare ourselves for our first time encounter with the Nemesis, and as such, our first boss fight. So let's get ourselves ready for that fight. We're going to go ahead and take our green herbs, and we're going to take also... I think we really don't need much more beyond this. I didn't really use typical. I would use my handgun to dispatch a lot of those zombies, but essentially because we've avoided a proprietary number of them, especially in the boutique area, we actually have a lot more handgun ammo. Now, typical, it takes about all 14 shotgun shells to drop Nemesis. Essentially, dropping Nemesis one time will be halfway through the fight. The second time he drops will effectively end the fight. So you will use 14 of the shells to essentially drop him the first time. After you do drop him, he will get right back up after a 10-second delay or 5-second delay, depending on the timing, to continue the fight. At that point, we will use the last remaining 7 shells and then switch over to our handgun ammo. The healing items here will essentially be pivotal only for the sake of the fact that he attacks. His attacks land. Now, in his most divisive formality, he has a number of attacks that he will use. The most 2 overbearing ones you will have to contend with will be effective crosses, a left cross and a right cross punch attack, as well as haymakers from the left and right. There will also be a running haymaker style kind of clothesline he will do. That will do huge damage. Overlapping attacks in those degrees will essentially do a lot of damage over time. So he doesn't really need a few punches from him really are enough to bring you down to caution. Another form of attack he does is essentially a grab and throw. He will either grab you by the throat, snatching you up with his right arm. So you want to try to avoid that with his left arm. Going around his left side is the best way to avoid that. Once he grabs you, though, he will throw you to the front, or he will throw you behind him on the ground. It's important you get up after that, because if he gives over and he scoops you up and grabs you again, he will attempt to finish you with his signature tentacle impalement attack. If you are in caution or danger, this is almost instantaneously a death. If you press all the action, if you do the escape button commands as it was described in the file, you can get away from his attack effectively. But again, it's imperative that basically you just try to watch for that. You can dodge his attacks by aiming your weapon or doing the dodge mechanic the other way, which is a little bit harder for me. But I effectively can dodge his attacks more often than not. In easy mode, you can dodge ridiculously easy because it automatically almost triggers on its own. But that's essentially what you can do there. In this particular instance, we have a bit of a harder time because dodging is actually a little bit more. It really kind of relies on your command prompts to do the dodge effectively. Never mind the fact that the timing is a bit more tighter. So it takes a bit of practice, but I'm sure anyone and everyone who is a seasoned Resident Evil player is capable of getting it. So upon leaving the save room, we're going to head out onto the street and then essentially onto the only other derivative of the uptown area. As you can see, this is essentially the mid-card point of the entire uptown area, leading us to this particular area here, which will lead us into the downtown area. This is essentially the police station. However, the door here is locked. To get to that door, we need to unlock it. It is a simple lock. We need our lockpick to get this door open. And the only place our lockpick can be is at the police station. So, that's where we're heading. And here we are, the RPD. This is essentially the location of Resident Evil 2 and the events leading up to it. However, this particular street has been basically cordoned off and blocked. Essentially, this is like the outer gate to the inner city, to the inner part of the courtyard of the police station. There's our boy, the Nemesis. It's a huge difference in look. So here is our first major decision system. Now we can choose to either fight the monster or head into the police station. Fighting the monster will be our option, but entering the police station will essentially alleviate us. So as you can see, this is the critical moment when the attacks are essentially going to be coming. So as you can see, that essentially is basically what we will have happen. Avoiding his left arm is the pivotal point of this fight, so you want to avoid his left arm as much as possible. There's a right haymaker. Now a right cross. Now we obviously did dodge the grab, but that is essentially what he will do. And then he will grab us and pick us up. Get out of his grip, and you can continue the fight. Another right cross. As you can see, one throw, 2 punches and 1 throw brought us down to caution, and we got grabbed. And then a huge haymaker, which will bring us down to danger. Now, at this point, you really do want to heal. So we're going to go ahead and keep it moving. You don't really get grabbed. He doesn't really do any damage with the grab, so that's a good thing. And there will be the first stage of the fight. Go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity to basically get some easy hits on him. And then he will throw you again. Get him up. Get up, get up, get up. Oh, she fucking dick. Damn it. Ah, damn it. Alright, we're out of shotgun ammo. Switch to a handgun. A running haymaker. Grabs me. Throws me. Get up. Come on, get up, get up, get up, get up. Ah, oh, come on, girl. Oh my god, okay. And that will be it. And that will be that piece of work. Yeesh. So, we got the Eagle Parts A. This is essentially the first stage of the weapon part, a creation system before we can get our hands on the Eagle pistol. But before we head inside, go ahead and over here to Brad's body and grab the card case. After you do, check it and you will find Brad's STARS card. Now, this saves you a trip, and this is the reason why we stayed to fight. If you do go into the police station, you will have to make the extra long trip around, get Jill's STARS card. And that will basically that will force you this is part of the decision system. Now, essentially, by fighting Nemesis, yes, we're taking on a really tough fight, and essentially ill-prepared with weaponry and munitions as well as health. But that's the risk you take with that, especially if you want to save yourself a trip. Oh, excuse me, I had gas. Oh, jeez. And the other benefit of it is the fact that you will essentially be able to avoid any problems leading further along the line in that capacity. Specifically with the engagement of other enemies in the police station to sort of get to the STARS card. So we're going to open up the map here, and basically you will find that essentially this is mainly going to be your main saving room. This is actually the main hall. Obviously, this is where Jill and Claire and Leon will essentially be when you get here. Over here, you will find some green herbs to your credit if you actually were lucky enough to make it this far without getting dead. So go ahead and grab those. And proceed up and around into the main hall at the counter. Grab the handgun ammo from the clerk's desk. And then continue on. Over here you will have a police station map. Go ahead and take it. And essentially this is basically where we're going to need to go into the detail about this. So essentially we will have, if you did take the STARS card from Brad, you saved yourself a trip to the operations room where Jill's STARS card essentially is. Now, if you don't know where that is, you have to recall that we have the West office. Basically, you have that little U shape. I can't really zoom in on the damn thing because it's not letting me. But you can avoid a little bit of a trip there. Now, the reason why we need the STARS card is to gain access to the safe in this deposit room that will basically have the STARS key to the STARS office. A lot of extra work here that was not necessary, but unfortunately necessary if we want to get what we need. So, using the STARS card will give you access to the passcode for that room. The evidence room essentially will be 0131. Now, the other password I will say is also 4011. I do remember that. So remember that 0131 is one password and 4011 is the other password. It really boils down to a sense of luck in getting that. So if you are lucky enough to get that, kudos to you. But otherwise, it is pretty much a random guess at that point. So heading into the Western office, where Marvin Branna would be, typically, you will find a series of zombies here. You will not find anything else really in terms of availability. Okay, obviously we did not expect these guys to be here. Essentially, we were hoping they would come in from Marvin's room. Marvin's office is essentially what we want to avoid. So we'll come back and do this again. So let's try this. Hopefully they'll come from Marvin's office. Yep. Okay, so most of these zombies will be in Marvin's office, essentially, basically over there. But we will, of course, avoid them by doing this. So we try to get them to lure them around here, essentially coming all the way down. And then once they have come all the way down, we're going to run into here and grab Marvin, who apparently is dead, or at least seemingly. Grab Marvin's report. He's been fatally wounded by zombies. Marvin is not dead. He looks dead, but he's not. On here, we have Marvin's report. September 24th, there are reports of a theft in the municipal building before dawn. A jewel-decorated clock tower at the main gate was damaged. 2 of the 12 gems that are installed on the face of the clock are missing. Due to the lack of available officers at this time, I have no choice but to suspend the research of this case. Signed, Marvin Branna. September 26th, 2 days later. Based upon the autopsy report of the 42-year-old restaurant owner, I have discovered that he has one of the missing gems. He apparently took shelter in the police department at about 10 a.m., where he was shot to death within 10 minutes of having developed the symptoms. Since the city is currently under martial law, we are forced to suspend this case. At this time, we'll keep the gem as evidence. So essentially, the gem for the clock tower, not the clock tower, but the clock to City Hall, the municipal building, is essentially here. We will need that gem for the future. So we're going to grab that as well. But over here, grab the shotgun shells off of the desk and load them into your shotgun to make space. And then make your way out before the zombies make their way to your position. Now, inside this area, we're going to have a few things we're going to need to do. Number one, grab the gem, but we can't grab the other items in this room yet, so we need to make our way to the storage, to the dark room, save room, essentially, that Leon and Claire used with the photography. Head into the hall and drop the zombies here. We just want to get them out of our way. And then head into the dark room. Avoid the zombie in the hallway. And then just head in here. Once in here, we're going to drop off a few things. Drop off the STARS badge, obviously. Grab the green herb. Mix it. Then we're going to drop off the eagle parts. We're going to drop off the herbs. And we're going to drop off the gem. On the desk behind us, we will have another David's memo. This would be David Ford. In here, we will find my sanity is at its end. I still can't believe this is happening. We lost another man yesterday, Meyer, one of our better marksmen. He saw me panic once we were overrun by the zombies, but he came back to save me. But when the time came to return the debt, I ran. I could still hear him calling out my name. I could still hear the screams coming from behind, the sound of his flesh being stripped from its bones. I was afraid, terrified. It's the 27th. The fight to stay alive continues. I took out several zombies who managed to break through the barricades. Now I'm cutting through the chill with whiskey. Unloading my Mossberg on anything undead. That shotgun's become a close friend of mine. I've blasted many a zombie into fertilizer with it. We've lost 13 men as of yesterday, and 3 routers will bicker over trivial things in the meeting room. It's a total waste of time. When I finish this bottle of my old friend Mossberg, we'll be turning one last body into fertilizer. Peace at last, I can hardly wait. So he ended up punching his own ticket. So It's kind of sad to hear stories like that, but at the same time, I mean, what do you expect the fuckers to do? I mean, they're basically sort of just trying to stay alive, but at this point, the poor bastard just gave up. So once we head through there, we get through that file, grab the gunpowder from the locker, and then the ink ribbons as well by the typewriter. Then head over here, get out the weapon tool, get out the bullet making tool, and make more handgun ammo as well. Now, as you can see, we've already made basically, as I understand it, using gunpowder 3 times will get you 15, 15, 15. Then using it 3 more times will get you 17, 17, 17 ammo. And then the very final third, and then the final next time will be 20 bullets. After 20 handgun bullets, you will essentially start making enhanced handgun ammo for the handgun. So, same goes with the shotgun. 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8. And then I think the final one, is either 9 or 10. And then you'll start making enhanced shotgun ammo. So that is, in that order, the fulcrum of what you're wanting to do. So we're gonna head on over into here now. Go back to the evidence room and basically get that stars key. Now, if we remember the password, 0131. There's also going to be some shotgun shells in here we're going to grab as well. Oh, we can't unlock it without this. We need to get our lockpick to unlock that. And there we have it. We have the stars key. Emblem key will be essentially its official, its designation, but after checking it, it will be renamed the stars key. And then with that, we're going to head out, and then we're going to make our way upstairs to the police station's 2nd floor to get to the stars office. If you play Resident Evil 2, you should know this by heart by now. Now, at the top of the stairs, you will essentially have a number of zombies in your way. The big zombie here will essentially be one, and then the other ones will be over here on the far side. We're going to avoid them altogether and basically just keep moving. The fat zombie will be a good indicator that the other 3. If you have the 3 zombies closer to the stairs, that means the fat zombie will be at the back. We want the reverse. We want the fat zombie at the front, which we got, and the 3 zombies at the back, which we could easily run past and navigate our way around them. Upstairs on the 2nd floor, here we are in the main office, the main hallway leading to the stars office. Now, you're probably wondering why we don't really go about going to the other parts of the police station, and that's because we can't. They have effectively boarded them up in the Resident Evil 3 game. I'm not entirely sure why, but essentially the barricades to the east wing of the police station and the west wing's 1st floor to the police station are all barricaded, including the 2nd floor. So essentially all those other access areas of the police station, we cannot access them in Resident Evil 3. But entering the Stars office, Jill's office, I guess you could say, we will find a number of things. Wesker's desk essentially will be here. On Barry's desk over here, you will find handgun ammo. Grab them, and you will have 107 handgun ammo now. Over here on the desk of Chris, you will find nothing. On Jill's desk, however, you will find her lockpick, which is sparkling. Grab that. Over here on the side, though, you will find in Rebecca Chambers' makeshift desk a first aid spray. And then inside the weapons locker, depending on your luck, you will find 1 or 2 weapons. You will find either a Magnum or you will find a grenade launcher. Let's hope for a Magnum. Yay. So, it's completely random. I did not guess that right. I got lucky. What you find in one will essentially be at the power station for the other. Over here on the fax machine, you will have... Oh my god, I really gotta go eat something. I should have ate something before I streamed. Facts from Kendo Gun Shop. To the boys of Stars, I have the good news for you from my brother Joe. He has finalized the new handgun for the official use. It is the M92F Stars Special, but he calls it the Samurai Edge. It's the most balanced of the Kendo custom guns. Joe said if you miss the targets with this, you should carry a teething ring instead of a gun in your holster. The goods will be delivered along with their proper documentation. I'm sure you'll be surprised when you see what kind of excellent parts are used for the M92F. I know that you'll want to thank the good people who developed it. Sincerely, Robert Kendo, Kendo's Gun Shop. And I think that will effectively be all we will find inside the Stars office, effectively. You could typically find handgun ammo or gunpowder on the floor, hidden on the site, much like how we did with a few of the Resident Evil 2 games, but in this game we didn't do that. So upon going to leave, we will see a transmission come through the control console for the radio.
No! Come anyone! Our platoon is cut off! No survivors found! This is Carlos! Send in support immediately!
So we obviously have the second character of our Resident Evil 3 live stream experience with Carlos making an appearance, in a sense. Once that transmission is concluded, we're going to head out and prepare ourselves for another encounter with the Nemesis. Now, obviously, we will not fight him right away. We're going to need to get into the dark room and prepare ourselves for that. But once we get out here, we're going to run down here and avoid all the zombies. If you hear that music, that essentially means the Nemesis is close by and stalking you. But that glass breaking was essentially him. Now, as soon as we go past this point, the window in front of us will essentially shatter, and the Nemesis will breach the police station with a rocket launcher. So we're going to need to have ourselves ready and available for this fight. So I'll go ahead and avoid him. The zombie will be gone from here with the arrival of the Nemesis, so we won't really need to worry about him too much. Head inside here, and let's prepare. We're going to take out our healing items. And we're going to save our game yet again. The Magnum will definitely make good use of here in this instance because the Magnum is very powerful and it is probably one of the better weapons to use against the Nemesis. The grenade launcher works effectively, however, because the Nemesis is in tight quarters, he can dodge them very easily. But it doesn't really matter. It's when he's not armed that essentially we need to avoid it. So we're going to definitely take advantage of it in that fashion. We're going to go ahead and take out the lockpick though. We're going to immediately use our Magnum, and we're going to go switch to our shotgun and then switch to our handgun. So here we go. After killing him, he will drop the Eagle parts, part B, and that will give us our next handgun that we can use. Now, essentially, after shooting off like 5 or 7 rockets, he will discard the rocket launcher. If you can shoot him in between his rocket balls, you can fuck up his aim enough to where he will absolutely miss his target. A single rocket from him is essentially just as strong as one of his haymakers or one of his cross punches. It is pretty easy to get him to use that shit up and then effectively put him down, but it's essentially up in terms of scale to the... Oh, okay, so we actually just one pistol shot essentially dropped him. Once he drops, we're going to go ahead and get our shotgun ready and open up on him. Go ahead and use the healing item in the event we need to. Some instances he can get caught on the environment, so essentially he will be unable to pursue you. Just like that. And that'll be it. I can't believe it. He got caught up on the wall and he couldn't continue after us. So that will be pretty much that, and we have the eagle parts for this particular enemy. With the Nemesis dead, we can now head in here and get our next major handgun. That was awesome. I can't believe I got that on stream. But there's certain points where he does get caught up on that. One particular instance is in Marvin's office. Effectively, he basically gets caught up on the bookcase there, and it makes it easy as hell to kill him. But it's entirely, chance based. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. It's just the luck of the draw when you think about it. But we're going to definitely get our hands on the eagle parts, and now we have our base weapon for any future traditional handgun ammo. So, but we have what we need, and we can get out of the police station now. Now, as you might imagine, the Nemesis essentially will be gone the minute we come out of here. So he is very much alive, and basically will get up and just leave the area, either to recover or to strategically fall back and watch for opportunities to attack me yet again. So inside the room, the safety deposit room, use the lockpick to open up this locker, and you will find some gunpowder inside. I don't think there's any other lockers you can unlock at this point, but I'm just going to check to be sure because I can't really totally remember yet. So it doesn't look like there is. Okay, we're good. We're going to head out here and proceed back outside the police station onto the main drag of the uptown area. The zombies will essentially be coming out of the Marvin's office. Marvin will be gone now, so much for him being dead. Yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. So we're going to head over here now and basically make our way up and out of the police station. The doors to the West Wing are sealed. The ladder is inaccessible. Pretty much all of this is just kind of... I think it's a little bit stupid, because I think you would... it doesn't really make... How do you expect to navigate the police station at this point? If you're a survivor and you're looking for refuge, you're boarding up accessibility to the building, essentially, but you're not boarding up windows and stuff to the outside that you would want to keep out. But you're cordoning off areas of the station that really don't really need to be cordoned off. I would make sense of it if it was the main hall, but that's the part that doesn't make sense. The main hall is essentially the main thoroughfare, so you're kind of trapping yourselves in more than trapping them out. I don't know. That's just my opinion of it. But in any case, we're going to head back. We're going to take a little detour, head to the save room over here, and then we'll basically go into use the gunpowder, and then proceed forward into the lower areas of the downtown area. We got shotgun ammo, and that is going to be what we need. So take your handgun with you, take your knife with you. So once you get to the lockpick, this door, go ahead and use that, and then we're going to make our way in. So once we get into this little sort of maintenance, I don't even know what you would call this. I mean, it definitely is not an alley, but I mean, I don't know, it could be wrong. But upon entering this area, you're going to basically see something creep out the window. That essentially is going to be a drain demos that we encountered in Resident Evil 3 Remake after it pretty much throat-goated Jill in that game. On the body of this UBCS, maybe he'll have handgun ammo and also a diary. September the 1st, following 6 months of intended training, my body's edge has returned. I was a good soldier, but they ordered my execution with no reason given. I was tortured and forced to give a false confession. But on the morning of my execution, a miracle happened. The company had helped me out, giving me a second lease on life. September 15th. I ended my vacation short and returned to the HQ office. It looks like the UBCS unit has been called into action. Umbrella maintains its own paramilitary unit to counter corporate terrorism and VIP abduction. In addition, they have nightmen who specialize in handling problems caused by illegal products. I'm currently a member of the latter. September 28th. Dawn's here, but we're still slogging through this nightmare. There are no provisions of any kind here. The undead walk the streets feeding upon the flesh of the living. Given the choice again, I would rather have been executed. Death Row was a heavenly asylum compared to this place. I've chosen to pull the trigger myself in the hopes that my dead body won't come back to life. So he ended up. He also ended up popping himself. It's just like, damn, bro. I mean, come on. Upon entering outside that passage, we're going to be effectively in the down. Slightly, we're still in the downtown area. We're still in the uptown area, but this is essentially another off the beaten path kind of alleyway section. Heading to the right, though, real quick, we're going to take a look and see that there is essentially a fire hose here. It's fixed with bolts, so we need to get something to loosen those bolts, a wrench, effectively. So we need to find one. Heading over here, we will find there is a couple of blue herbs here, which we will definitely take. Now, this is another thing, too. Certain herbs will appear in certain locations. In this instance, we had the green herbs appear at the police station. They will appear at the police station once you fought the Nemesis. When you remember, we picked those 3 green herbs up. They'll appear either there or they'll appear here, right with those blue herbs. So, gunpowders will appear in 1 or 2 areas. Herbs will appear in 1 or 2 areas. Essentially, you really won't have an idea of where until it does happen. So, but it typically appears when you have no inventory space, and are in a position where you have to either use them or not pick them up. Heading into this area, we will essentially find that there is some dogs as well as a gunfight going on. So once we've used that ammo of the handgun, we're going to switch to our STI. our eagle pistol, and then basically head around the corner. We can hear the dog is munching on that body. Drop him once, drop him again, and then switch to your knife. I like to go for the knife because it really prevents us from using too much of our handgun ammo. Damn. Tough boy, ain't you? Over here on the eviscerated body of the UPCS member, we'll grab the gunpowder. Get your STI Eagle 6.0, your Eagle pistol, and then head into the body shop of this small body shop here. Here, we will have a series of dogs. A single headshot is usually... This is the beauty of the Eagle. The Eagle pistol essentially gets you critical hit chance pistol shots like that, where you literally get like an easy headshot on dogs or zombies, respectively. The cable here we need, but we don't have the room to pick it up, so we're going to leave it. Head past the maintenance elevator and then head into the far corner for the office. In here, you'll also see some blue herbs in the event you get poisoned, because there will be poison enemies here later on. Oh, grab the handgun ammo on the desk to your left. And then we're going to drop off our regular handgun. I'm a bit OCD, so I like to have my handgun and ammo in the same spot. Take out the blue herb. Mix it. And then basically take out your tool again. The gunpowder tool. And make the shotgun shells. Now, we pretty much have made the 3.7s, now we're in the 3.8s. So we have the means of actually doing that effectively. Before we go any further, we're going to head back and get that power cable. That will be important for a latter part of the story, so we need to grab that for a maintenance job we'll have to do. So, once we have that, head back to the office now. And then also grab the ink ribbons from the typewriter. We'll go ahead and drop off the ink ribbons. We'll drop off the cable. And we'll take one healing item with us. Goddamn dog. So after you take care of the dogs, you will essentially have them pretty much out of your way, and then we can head on into the tower area, whatever. I'm not sure really what this is. It looks like a maintenance tower area or a construction site. I'm not entirely sure. But the important thing is essentially this is basically going to lead us to where we need to go. This basically is going to lead us into a number. There's going to be now we're in the downtown area, as you can see. So we have a numerable number of areas we need to navigate. The most important and pivotal point will be the trolley, the gas station, the newspaper office, the restaurant, and the substation. Now, this little tower / area essentially will lead us to the substation. We can't access that right now because we don't have a battery for the elevator to lead us down. So, but we will be heading for either the restaurant or the newspaper office. That will be our target area. Now, upon entering this area, we will be attacked by drain demons, drain demos. You can see there's a dead UBCS officer here. Dropping that enemy there will be pretty easy. Grab the gunpowder off the body, though. Another drain demos will be on the wall. That will essentially be a problem. We're going to go ahead and use the item hanging in there as a form of attack. So as you can pretty much see, that is pretty much an explosive element, but in a sense, it is just merely a melee element. We killed the drain demos pretty easy at that point. Now heading to the left instead of right, we're going to head through here and into the downtown street area leading to the restaurant. That will essentially be Carlos fleeing the action of his fight. Here we have some green herbs. Grab them. Then obviously here we have a puzzle. Now, essentially, to get the bronze compass, by taking it, we will effectively trigger the water. Now, because the water is electrified, we will not be able to leave with the compass. We need to put it back. So we need to get something to sort of give us a means of getting out, which is going to be kind of pivotal to later on with that other item over there in question. So we're going to have to come back here later on. Heading up into the restaurant area. You will find a number of details here that is pretty evident. It will be a key point for the Nemesis to make an appearance if we choose to have that happen. But over here, over this table booth over here, and get the city guide. This essentially will give us, dear citizens, thank city guide, the tracks of our city. Dear citizens, thank you to kind and generous people of Umbrella Inc. This is a peaceful and friendly city. The vast donations from Umbrella Inc. have been used for welfare work, the construction of public utilities, and to help maintain public peace. In 1992, it was my 5th year as mayor of our beautiful city. It was then that 5th year. I mean, fuck me. It's not. Is it not a little suspect for people to not think that maybe they should actually be voting a little differently? I mean, 5th year as mayor. Anyway, it was then that through many donations and hard work of our city, our city was able to rebuild the municipal building created at the state and rebuild the municipal building and create a state-of-the-art hospital. In honor of these fine accomplishments, I was awarded with a grand statue that same year. The statue rests in the municipal building. I came to the city as an engineer more than 35 years ago. I made contributions to the electric system and to the installation of the cable car. I pledge to follow the tradition of this fine city and will devote my life to its prosperity. The mayor of the city, Michael Warren. The mayor's daughter ended up getting killed by Chief Irons. Now, this essentially is going to be a point where we can honestly engage with the Nemesis if we so want to. Which I'm not sure if we will do it here. I think we'll do it at the newspaper office. So in this instance here, if you do engage the Nemesis here, you will have a quick decision system. The decision will basically be boiled down to use the gas cylinder or heading down into here. Now, using the gas cylinder will essentially blow up the Nemesis and kill him temporarily. This will give you the opportunity to get a much-needed resource out of him in that sense, but otherwise not so much. We will go ahead and use the lockpick and get the fire hook, which essentially will be the manhole opener. We will not use that just yet. Oh. Oh, come on, man. Dodge him, girl. Shove him. Oh. This is why I hate the dodge. This is the only thing I dislike about the OG version, is the dodge is so fucked. Ugh. At least with the remake, they did the dodge where it was pretty accessible. It was user friendly. This is not very the dodge system in this is not very user friendly. Anyway, head into here, and we're gonna do a few things. Number one, grab the shotgun shells as we need them for our next encounter with the Nemesis, and grab the rusted crank. Then we're going to get our gunpowder use out of this. We're going to get our shotgun out and ready. We're going to get our other shotgun shells out and ready. Now, I'm going to go to the newspaper office. I'm going to take a lucky stab at the possibility that maybe I can get red herbs. Oh, you fuck. I didn't see him. Oh. I'm not going to bother wasting my bullet on him. I'm just going to keep it moving. But yeah, heading through the shopping district, essentially, this is basically what this is. And the restaurant area. Essentially, we're going to be heading up past this fire truck, and we're going to head into the newspaper office. This is going to be our core area that we're going to be heading for. Obviously, the biggest, most important thing we're going to have to grab is going to be the first aid spray here, and that's pretty much it. Then we're going to push the step ladder all the way over to a control console, which will be well and truly high above and out of reach. Don't know why the hell they would put it way up there, but essentially this is basically a fire shutter door. Over here on top of the payphone, we're going to find photo B, which is essentially a zombie, a close-up shot of a zombie. It says the scoop on the backside. Once we get the step ladder pushed over, switch the power off or on, depending on your opinion. Go ahead and activate the fire shutter. And we're going to access the newspaper office. Now, if you don't move fast enough, you will essentially take a little bit of damage from the fire exploding from that room, seeing as the news office is essentially burning to the ground. Upon entering the second or third floor of the newspaper office, heading into this office here, this is where you will find Carlos. You will find Carlos in either the restaurant or you will find him here. The canonical entry where he will make an appearance will be the restaurant.
Where am I?
Relax. You're fine.
If you say so, but my head feels like it's about to explode. Anyway, name's Carlos. Glad to meet you, lady.
Jill. Alpha Team? RPD's STARS unit. Who do you represent?
The big umbrella symbol wasn't obvious enough for you, Jill.
I see. Well, I'm a member of
on
the
his back.
Biohazard Countermeasure Force sent by Umbrella Incorporated.
Sent by Umbrella?
Hey, don't look at me like that. What did I say? Do you have a problem?
Oh no. It's him!
Here comes Nemesis. Again. So at this point, you have a critical decision to make. Essentially, you either have the choice of jumping out the window or hiding in the back. Now, if you hide in the back, you will basically duck down low behind the wall while the Nemesis is approaching the office. Essentially, this is going to lead to a fire. The fire, essentially, that is escalating will explode, knocking the Nemesis through the window and knocking him unconscious. Now, this does two things. One is it gives you time to get away from the area before he regains consciousness. The second thing, essentially, is that he will drop the next major item that you can get for pickup. This is essentially what we want, but we're not going to take that choice. The first option is to jump out the window. This effectively allows us to gain access to an otherwise inaccessible area, and this will present an opportunity to get the red herbs that are actually hidden in this area. I'm not sure if we're going to get that. We will see. But this is kind of you're either lucky or you're not situation. So we hopefully will get the red herbs, and that will basically lead us unneeded items. So once we jump out the window, the Nemesis will essentially not be able to follow us, but he will still have to be dealt with.
Pain is pleasure thing, okay?
Just deal with it. That thing wants me dead. We've got to get out of here.
So once you drop him, you will finally make your way out, and there's our red herbs. That is essentially what we want, but we don't have the inventory space to take it right now, so we'll have to deal with it at our own leisure.
Wait. I have to ask you something.
We'll come back and get them later.
You want to ask me out? All the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy.
I have to know. Why did Umbrella send you here?
Definitely made him a womanizer in this game, didn't they?
We're on a civilian rescue
Remake, they didn't do that, but this one they did.
Oh, you're full of it. They're the ones who caused all this in the first place.
Look, we're just mercenaries, hired hands. Do you really think the master would tell his dogs why they have to retrieve the stick he just threw? Listen, if you want answers about Umbrella, you're asking the wrong guy. Believe it or not, we are here to rescue civilians. If you can trust me, join us. Think about it.
Now at this point, Carlos will vacate the area. Over here on the body of this police officer in the corner, you will find some handgun ammo. The Nemesis will still be in the area, as you can see that he is up in the, here from the music. He will not follow you outside of the newspaper office as of yet. So head inside the save room, and then we're gonna get ourselves situated for this fight. You don't have to fight him every time, but I like to fight him every time because I want to get those items that he has on his person. So we actually have the red herbs now we have to get, but that's okay. We'll get them eventually. We're gonna drop Big Boy here and get ourselves ready for this piece of work. So upon entering this area again, the Nemesis will immediately charge and attack. Oh boy, this is gonna fucking hurt. Get up, baby! Get up, get up, get up, get up! Oh, we got away. Thank God. Okay, so we got obviously that situation. Oh, left side, forgot. Don't run around his left side, run around his right. Why the hell would you take such sweet time getting out of that? Alright, reload. Oh! Get up, lady! Oh no, he got me. Alright, so that will take care of him for that stage of the fight. Oh. Throw. Get up, bitch! No! Nope. Not happening. I feel like such a cheap bastard, but you know what? It's okay. I don't really care. Come on, get up, bitch! Oh, come on. Oh my god. I'm not gonna use a fucking perfectly good healing item because you can't dodge, bitch. Fucking asshole. Take the hint, no means no. After you drop the Nemesis, he will drop a first aid box. The first aid box is such a boon. You can actually hold up to 3 first aids at a time. So upon that little piece of work, we're going to head back into this area here. Actually, before we get into that, let's go ahead and back and drop off some of our items. We don't really need to carry much in the way of that. We won't see the Nemesis for a little while, thank God. But that effectively will basically be the antithesis of everything we hope to achieve in that regard. Excuse me. So essentially head back to the save room here and then basically drop off a few things. Obviously, we won't need the shotgun for a little while. Drop that off. Drop off the first aid spray. Drop off the mixed herb. And then basically get the fire poker as well as the gemstone. We are hurt. I'm not going to waste a perfectly good healing item for the sake of this one little wound. So we're just basically going to have to toughen it out and continue on with this subtle little injury of a sort. Ignore the zombie to our rear and head into the restaurant from the rear. Now, because we went to the newspaper office, the cutscene that would have taken place in the restaurant is going to be null and void. Use the, we've already gotten the fire poker from this safe. Alright, now we will use it. Ah, you fucking dick. Get the fuck... You fucking dickhead. Go ahead and use the fire poker to lift the area. This is essentially where you recall that the gemstone was going to be found by the restaurant owner, but essentially we will find another gemstone here. In the corner of this alien-looking thing, looks like weird. Looks like something from Prometheus and Bob episode. You definitely want to actually grab the green gemstone. After that, we're gonna head up and out of the restaurant, and then out the back door yet again. Are you serious right now? Out the back door, and then we're gonna head right back to the newspaper office real quick. We got the 2 gemstones we need to basically get our way into the municipal building. That's essentially what we want. So head back to the newspaper office real quick, because we got a few files there we need to grab, and I don't know, I think there may be some gunpowder there we can grab as well. So before heading forward, head back to the newspaper office. The Nemesis will essentially be gone after we've dispatched him, which is good for us. And here we have the 3 gunpowders, essentially to our credit, or at least 2 of them anyway. We're definitely going to take those. And then heading around the corner, we will have 2 things here. We will have a file here on the right of the photo C. The police have been destroyed. That will essentially be 1 file. And then in the far back, we have a reporter's memo. At last, I have found the evidence I need to prove that the cannibal disease is indeed happening in this city. One man actually ate people to death. He was like a savage animal tearing away a new flesh. It was completely disgusting. I have heard rumors that many people are also suffering from this disease now. However, the cause of the disease is not yet known. Is this another mystery of the present disease? I will have to check on it. They have placed Raccoon City under martial law because of the cannibal disease. I have lost contact with the media outside of the city, but I won't give up. As a journalist, I won't keep my eyes shut and walk away. I have a duty to the people and my profession. I don't think the disease has spread nationwide yet. I believe that the city holds the key to its creation and cure. In fact, I'm sure of it. The military has set up blockades around the city to keep people from escaping and spreading the disease. Now, this is a confusing thing, and I never understood this with the original lore of the games. It's genuinely been illustrated as such from Resident Evil Outbreak and Outbreak File 2. What I don't get is how did Claire and Leon get into the city so easily then? And if it was martial law, you would think that it would be pretty prominent news coverage. So it's a bit confusing as to how they would actually able to do that. So I don't know. I think it's just one of those kind of like it's a plot hole that, in my opinion, it's a plot hole that it doesn't really seem to resonate much in the way of sense, because in the previous games we didn't really have that. But then again, I think the writing was kind of dysfunction. I think the writing of it was, then versus now, kind of in that format. So most of the citizens have either died or have come in contact with the disease. I know that it is the right decision to quarantine the city, but I can't help but pity myself. If I am infected or eaten, it doesn't matter. My fate is already sealed. All I have left is my journalism. I won't give up until I solve the mystery of the deadly disease. I have just discovered that the disease is not spread through the air, but by some other means, like the water, like the rats, environmental. Makes sense to me. So once we have those items, we can make our way back down now. Now we will take a detour though. We're going to use these gemstones on the municipal building, and then we're going to grab the red herbs in that small alleyway that we otherwise wouldn't have been able to gain access to. So once we have done that with the gemstones, the city hall of Raccoon City will essentially be open to us. But before we get into there, we're going to head over here and grab these two red herbs, and take them back to our stash. Once we get back to the storage room, we're going to drop off a few of our red herbs. Drop off the red herbs, and then we're going to see about making the gunpowder in question. Take out the blue herb, though. Oh, we can't mix them, as I said yet, so we can't. I forgot we can't do that like we did in the previous games. So, another lesson learned. Go ahead and put another first aid spray in your first aid box, though, because we used one already. Drop off the herbs, get the gunpowder tool, and let's see if we can make... Alright, we're at the final stretch. Now that we've reached 20, any future handgun ammo we make going forward will give us enhanced handgun ammo. Now, it's important to note that the enhanced handgun ammo cannot be used with the Eagle Eye. It has to be used with the M92F, the Stars pistol. That is the only weapon you can use it with. Same goes with the shotgun. So, let's go ahead and combine that, and get it ready for the next roundabout. Go ahead and put that item away. Take out your knife. Get your first aid box. And we're going to take the cable with us. And we're going to take the rusted crank with us. And I think that's really all we're going to need at present. So this is essentially all we need. We're not going to take any healing item. We're not going to take any of the shotgun ammo. We're essentially just going to take these bare items and bring them with us. So head on through to the City Hall building. And this is pretty much really all you're going to need at present, because we're going to actually have another, we're going to have a new encounter heading for into City Hall, and then essentially heading right for the trolley car. That is where our destination is. Now, that door essentially is sealed, but it will be unsealed later on when you come back through here. Now, here we're going to have 3 paths, one to the left and one to the right. The one to our right is essentially going to take us to the gas station. Navigate your way around the wrecked cars and the gas pump, and you will find that the red herbs that were essentially would have been here instead of the newspaper office building will be gone. Head over here to the crank, hex-shaped hole, and use the rusted crank. Upon rotating it, it will break. So you will not be able to open this door quite just yet. We need a tool, which we're going to get later on. But it was important to use the crank essentially just to get it out of our inventory. We know we need a tool. It doesn't really matter if you have the tool on you then or if you have it later. It essentially saves you a little bit of a measure of a reason. A bit of a trip out of your way, but it essentially gives you the opportunity of getting 1 free item space because you used it. Upon leaving the gas station pump, head back into the main path of the courtyard leading to the municipal building and continue on to the door path to the left instead of the right. Entering here, we will have a number of zombies in our way. Have your knife ready, and we'll knife kill this zombie here on the ground. Another zombie will be to our left. Ignore him, and head on through into the next courtyard area. Continue to follow the path, and this will lead us to the cable car area, the trolley, that will essentially be much like how the subway path was essentially for the Resident Evil 3 remake. We had, in this case, the trolley, which is essentially not the subway, but it is the antithesis of what we were working towards with the Resident Evil 3 remake to get out of the area. Head on through this door here, and this will lead you to the trolley area. Now, you will either encounter dogs or you will encounter zombies. Let's hope for dogs. Nope, we got zombies, but it's okay. Detonate the explosive barrel, and you'll kill all the zombies in that moment. Get the shotgun shells, 14 in count, off the body to your left that you entered this room, and then head on through. Climb up and over, drop down, and then head into here. On the right, immediately detonate the barrel at the far end, and that will take care of all the zombies here. I guess I should have reversed that. Hope for zombies, not dogs. Dogs are harder to kill. Zombies, not so much. But we'll head on into the trolley here. And as soon as we do board it, on the right, we will have a file. And it will basically be a mechanic's memo. I know that you're intimidated by your new job, Kevin, so let me tell you how to make sure that you and your trains get along just fine. You see, these carriages were made in 1968 and then imported from Europe. Sometimes they get rickety, but they still work because they are simple, stubborn, and strong. We can always depend on them. If they have a bad day and are malfunctioning, you'll need to take a good look at their circuits for any trouble. Once you discover what's wrong, you'll be able to fix it easily. I'm sure that you'll be able to avoid those nasty little malfunctions if you check the parts every day. These old trains will surely have problems if you don't remember to check them out. Just remember that if you need to replace anything, you have to choose a suitable part. When I say suitable, I mean that even if you can't find another original part, you'd better find something that works good enough. Even with regard to oil, you must always prepare good quality oil for these trains. Never forget, Kevin, that a man may betray others, but a machine won't. And that is why I like machines more than people. So essentially, checking it out, you will see you need oil, you need a fuse, and you need a power cable. We have one of three. Let's put it on, and that will cure the power cable. Now we need a fuse, and we need oil. Heading in there,
You're one of
you'll
the
have a cutscene
survivors from the rescue team, right?
with Nikolai.
Just ran into your teammate, Carlos.
How did a girl like you manage to survive?
Hey, I'm no ordinary civvy. I'm a member of STARS.
Stars? You mean the RPD Special Force Team?
Hey,
Sounds like a Russian version of
someone
Arnold
wounded down
Schwarzenegger.
there?
And then back here, we will find Mikhail with half his insides on the outside.
Oh, this looks bad.
They're coming. Get ready. Fire. Fire. Stay together.
Calm down. You're safe now. Everything is gonna be okay.
No. Don't come any closer. Stay away.
Heading into the second trolley car, you will encounter Carlos yet again.
So Jill, did you decide to help us out? It looks like we're the only ones who survived. We should work together. No, we can't trust her.
Oh, fuck you too, buddy.
Why? But Sergeant, we need her help. Our unit's down to you, me, and Lieutenant Mikhail. That's it. And Mikhail's hurt bad. If we don't cooperate, we won't be walking away from this mission. Fine. Then let's go over our plan. We're moving to the clock tower area, which is the designated landing zone for the extraction chopper. Once we get there and give the signal, the chopper will fly in and pull us out. That's a lot of ground to cover. I don't think we can make it on foot. The main problem we have is that the landing zone is cut off from here by the fire. So we have no choice but to use this cable car to navigate through it. Fortunately, we can also use it as a moving shield to get us through the worst areas. That works for me. Good plan, sir. Okay, people, let's get moving. Jill, put this on.
At this point, Carlos will also give you some side packs, essentially to expand your inventory space from 8 to 10. So we have more inventory space available to us now, thankfully. And further along the way, you'll find a wrench. Go ahead and grab that, because that will be important to get the fire hose, as well as turn the hex crank. And then unlock the door, and then head out on the other side of the cable car. Upon which, heading out and around through here. So once we get here, we're going to take a quick little visit back there because we'll have a new cutscene with Mikhail trying to leave the fucking train to help. The trolley to help. You crazy fucker.
Don't come any closer.
I gotta give the guy credit. He's got guts. If you use the barrel there to destroy the zombies, he'll use a grenade. Otherwise, he'll push the barrel and kick it towards the zombies, and he'll shoot it.
Mikhail, do you have some kind of death wish?
My people, they were wiped out by these monsters. I can't stop just because I'm wounded.
But can't you see those monsters are also the victims of Umbrella?
Are you accusing me of taking it out on them? You don't seem to understand something. We're not really involved with the company. There's no reason for any of us to take responsibility for this mess.
I know that. And right now, that's the only reason why I'm trying to cooperate with you.
Sorry. I feel so useless.
Don't. You fought hard and have the wounds to prove it.
But I'm still alive. My men aren't.
Don't think about that now. Just rest.
I feel kind of bad for the fucker in this game because he did feel bad about his boys not making it. You know what I also noticed too? Is the fact that Carlos referred to Nikolai as Sergeant and Lieutenant Mikhail. Now, it's ironic because in the remake, Mikhail was a major. And it was kind of weird because it was like Mikhail was higher in the authority ladder in terms of seniority for as far as like with leadership role, who outranks who. And essentially Mikhail in the remake was the highest ranking officer. And then Nikolai was a subordinate underneath him. In this particular instance, though, it's actually Nikolai who is the commanding officer, and Mikhail and Carlos are under him. Very intricate little change of the dynamic there, especially from a story standpoint. But it does make sense because Mikhail was essentially the more level-headed type of the outfit. So, but I mean, I gotta say, I think I didn't really like how they did Nikolai in the remake. I thought he was an absolute tryhard. At least here he has a bit of a ulterior mission. Nikolai in the remake, he just was fucking deranged, and I didn't particularly care for how they wrote him in the remake. I think the remake Nikolai is subpar. The OG Nikolai for the OG version of the game is a bit more superior to me because he actually has a strategic position. And if you really think about it, when the Resident Evil Outbreak was released, and including Operation Raccoon City, he was a very a very conniving character, always scheming, always strategizing. And we pretty much saw that top to bottom on a facet of other levels. And it was just kind of it just spoke volumes to the credit. So once the car door bursts open, a zombie will, of course, ambush you, and you will be able to get a easy amount of yellow gunpowder. Head into here, find past the zombie that gets up, and then continue on into the next area. Now we're going to head back to the storage room because we have a lot of things here we're going to need to drop off. The shotgun shells, the gunpowder, the green herbs. But before we can do that, we got to get these zombies out of our way. Inside here, we have more green herbs. We'll come back for those. Matter of fact, let's take a couple of them. We'll mix 2 for now, and we'll save the other 3 for when we make some red herbs later on. Now, upon entering this area, Carlos will be fleeing some zombies from the restaurant, which we will intercept, because if we don't do it here, they'll spread out, and we'll make our job a little bit harder, which we don't want to have that happen. Oh, what are you doing, girl? So dispatching those zombies will essentially clean up this area. I mean, we just had the one zombie here, but now we got a completely new population of zombies. So killing them essentially will make your job a monumental lot easier. Now we have the red herbs here, so we'll take the opportunity to mix them. Ooh, shit. Go ahead and grab the gunpowder tool and then mix it with the yellow gunpowder. And then put the gunpowder away. Well, actually, yeah, not there. Put it with the other ones. And then we're going to go ahead and take... Yeah, take the lockpick with you. And we're going to make our way back to the gas station now. So after you leave the storage room, save room, whatever you want to refer to it as, head on over here and gain access to the boutique area, the shopping, or the, whatever you want to refer to it as. There's so many different names. It's kind of a bit bizarre to like not categorize it into a certain dynamic that makes sense. But in this particular instance, we're just going to refer to it as the shopping district. Downtown area is essentially really a shopping district. And then obviously we'll have zombies breach this room, this path here, which is okay. Immediately bypass them and head directly for the gas station. I really don't like using the D-pad. Head over here, and then we're going to use the wrench to essentially turn the broken crank and open up the path into the gas station. Now head inside the gas station now. Now in here, you will typically either find gunpowder here. In this case, we won't. Instead, you will typically find 3 gunpowder here, or you will find it in the uptown area, essentially at the sales office building. This is pretty much where you will find there will be 3 red gunpowder A's. So essentially you will find them there now, because they're not here. They should appear right on this coffee table, but because we have not seen them, they essentially will not be. And we will find Nikolai.
I'll check over there.
Now, if you encounter Carlos, this is the unique thing. Either Carlos or Nikolai will appear in the gas station. If you encounter Carlos at the newspaper office, Nikolai will appear here. If you encounter Carlos at the restaurant, Carlos will appear here. Either or, it doesn't really matter, because essentially the outcome will be the same. Carlos will essentially either vacate the area to deal with a zombie horde approaching the gas station, and then will leave to basically assist you later on. If you do not, and that's an important thing too. If you have Carlos appear here, zombies will show up, and essentially he will leave the gas station to fight them off before they get any closer. At that point, if he's successful and you go out there to check on him, he'll say, all right, I'm going to go scrounge up some equipment that may not be at our destination. He will essentially find you some acid shells or freeze shells, depending on your scope. And then that will essentially be something you can get from him. If it is Nikolai will essentially not give you anything, and Carlos you will find at the sales office building. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You basically get either grenade shells or you don't. But again, every decision you make essentially gives you or makes things a little harder for you. In this particular instance, we're probably not going to get the grenade shells. But that is essentially what you will encounter in that capacity. So, Nikolai will head to the back of the building, essentially in here, to check out this area and basically look around for anything in terms of resources. Obviously here, the machine is soaked with machine oil, and that will effectively be the entirety of what is going to basically lead to his demise, allegedly. Back here, grab the first aid spray. And then also inside the storage, maintain temperature of the oil, operate the electronic lock. So we need to basically get all of these numbers lit up. So essentially by pressing one light will go out. So we need to solve this puzzle. We need to get the D icon activated. And that's what we got. So as you can see, basically one light will turn on. We need to do this 3 times. So now the A number is lit up. So now we need to get that working. And that will be it. So here we have A again. And that will give us the machine oil. Now, obviously, this is not something that we can use on our own. We need to synthesize something with it. We need to get another oil base with it. But upon the time to leave...
Nikolai!
The gas station will go up like a Roman candle. Now, it seems Nikolai is dead, so we're going to need to get the hell out of here before this place blows up. We're at a gas station. Fire and gas stations do not mix. So... So, obviously we cannot go back to that location again. So we're going to leave and continue on with the next major move of our playthrough. We have the oil that we need. Unfortunately, it will not be enough. Oh, shit. Didn't see him. So heading into here, this path was essentially, or at least initially, it was locked up. We're going to take over here this Warren, the statue of the Mayor Warren. We'll take the press the switch and get the bronze book. This is going to be important for us to get the bronze compass, if you recall that item that was electrified that we couldn't leave with. So once we have the book, we can make our way out of the City Hall building, head for the storage room, and immediately get access to that. Not the storage room, I'm sorry. The bronze compass puzzle. That's where we want to go. Having a bit of a brain fart there. Fucking D-pad. He was deviating. I'm not doing a zigzag, man. I'm not doing anything different. Go ahead and use the bronze book to essentially get this in this point, and then you go over here and get the bronze compass. With the book in place, the water will not flow, and you will not be trapped by the electric current. Now we're going to make our way back. And we'll make our way back to the statue of the mayor, and then use the book or the compass to get access to a hidden item, which will get us to the substation. And now we have dogs. Seeing as how we don't want to really get too wrapped up in that fight, we're just gonna drop them and be done with it. I mean, not drop them, but avoid them. Sorry. Anyway, head into here. Use the compass, and the statue will turn. And then behind it, you will find a small space with a battery. This will essentially get access to the power, restore power to the elevator leading to the substation from the maintenance tower. So head through here and head back to the storage. Those dogs are feasting on the body, and we are getting out of Dodge. So a few things we're going to do here. Number one is we're going to definitely take the shotgun with us, because we're going to have another boss fight with the Nemesis. So we're going to take the shotgun with us. We're going to take the wrench. No, we're not going to take the wrench with us. We are going to take, however, the green herb. Also gonna take the shotgun shells, matter of fact. Take the first aid box. And we'll go ahead and put the green herb with the other 3 green herbs. Might as well. And then we're gonna basically get a ink ribbon, and we're gonna save our game. And then I think I'm gonna actually cut the stream short here because I really do need to eat, and I think I need I need to see about if we need anything from the store. So I need to do an inventory. So I'll do that real quick. But I am just very glad we got that done in that capacity. So like I said, Resident Evil 3, the OG version, is really one of my absolute favorite games. Very fun, very enthusiastic. Not like the remake, obviously. Like I said, I like the remake and it's good, but they could have done so much better if they had actually really committed themselves to it. I mean, I don't think they. I say that loosely. I don't. It's not that I think they didn't commit themselves to it. I think they have an entirety of just the wrong impression of what players want. I did not find Resident Evil 3 remake really as good as it could have been. Resident Evil 2, they knocked it out of the park. And for them to just do a ground ball, there's a difference between a home run hitter, like a Resident Evil 2 remake, and then a ground ball for Resident Evil 3. And I'm sorry, but there's a lot of things you guys should not have cut. And we're going to see more of that as we continue with more future productivity of the stream. So I'm very happy with that. I'm very excited for that. I really kind of wish we got more done, but I do need to eat. I should have had a more of a breakfast instead of just a simple banana. So, but I'm going to definitely go find something, and I will definitely be back. Looking forward to doing more of this in the future because this is exciting. I'm excited for this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you. Comment, subscribe, like, turn the notification bell on and your notifications to stay up to date when I stream again in the future. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, tips, or lore, feel free to leave them in the comment section or send me a private message and I will do my best to answer them. And that is pretty much all I got for you guys. I am Savage Squishy 86, and I will see you back here next time when we continue our playthrough of Resident Evil 3, the OG version, as we continue going on with it. So I'll catch you guys next time.